Bolotky Village is one of the smaller regions within the zone. Unlike my last loot and locations report, there's not many locations in this region outside of the obvious spots, but there's still a few locations worth pointing out. But first, what is Bolotky Village? In short, it's a swamp. The only residents who lived in this small region were the elderly who resided in the houses overlooking the wet landscape. But there was efforts to build up the region with new infrastructure. The two construction sites display this, with the first one being nothing more than pillars and beams remaining. A figure we meet during a mission explains that the swamp made the difficult work to complete, and the bureaucrats did not help the project's completion. Eventually, this project was abandoned. Now this place is ripped apart by anomalies, but it's a good place to find valuable artifacts. The second construction site is far more impressive. Although we don't know what the building's purpose was, many explorers call it the school. I personally do not believe it was meant to be a school due to the fact that the residents of the region were elderly. But without any hints around to tell us more, all we can do is speculate. It is here that we will find more loot on a regular trip after the tide than anywhere else within this region. It's one of the most unforgiving places in the entire zone, with mimics and seekers guarding it with no forgiveness to any who enter. It is also here that we find the mysterious Shrine to the Squirrel in the basement. I still have no idea who would want to set this up, but this could be evidence of some form of a cult that has formed from some of the explorers, or the survivors of the event. Don't forget to check the second floor for weapons cases and ammo crates, and the basement for artifacts. And if you're feeling brave, climb the crane and cross the frame like a gymnast. You can find a machete and some documents within the counterweight of the crane itself. You can also find a box up here at times, but not always. And the only way to check is to climb the entire way up. It of course is a gamble, and you must either waste your time or get rewarded for your diligence. The village is the only other main location within the region. You will come here for missions on a regular basis, and should always take what you can each time you visit, especially if you can use the shortcut to Vano just beyond the train cars. While you may know to look in each building and house for loot, there are two basements that are easy to miss, and both are spots for ammo crates to pop up. But one of the basements holds a dark secret. Under the ruins of a log house at the southern end of the village, you will find what I can only describe as something out of a horror film.
Yeah, just left it. Oh, there's an ammo crate in here.
A cage divides a small room, and blood stains the floor. A black spot covers a mattress in the corner of the prison, next to an empty bucket. This appears to be someone's attempt to study an entity that was kept as a prisoner. Judging by the black stain in the cell, it was probably a fragment or a phantom. Whoever held the monster prisoner watched it from behind a desk. They planned to stay here for a long time, and would have survived for a while with their supply of food still available to loot. But unfortunately, the fragment got out, breaking the door down and attacking the researcher. If they got away or not is unknown. Just outside of the village is a train car, floating in midair. If you climb the boxes into the car, you will find a mattress, a possibility of an ammo crate, and some loot for the taking. This is another explorer's attempt at building an outpost, but while they managed to get some gear and a bed up here, it's not a great place to sleep. While I've only found orange ammo crates in the train car, if you walk down the hill to the swamp, you can often find a weapons case tucked into one of the culverts that flows into the marsh. In the center of the region, there is the floating wreckage of an Mi-17 helicopter. one of the tapes explains that the Russians sent in one helicopter with a team of researchers for a fast look into the radius, but they never returned. After the disappearance, it was decided that no other aircraft would be sent in. This is all that remains of the research team and their bird. As for loot, there's a chance of finding a weapons case and some random loot scattered beneath the wreckage. But watch out for the anomalies that have ripped the helicopter apart. At the far end of the region, by the passage to Kolhotz, there sits a few trucks left in ruin by the Red Waters. I can't find much for evidence of who left them here or why they parked them by the strange water. But if you happen to pass this way, give a quick look for an ammo crate that shows up once in a while. The last spot worth mentioning is the anomaly cluster to the north end of the region. It's one of the more dangerous clusters around, with shock anomalies covering the entire region. Be careful here when trying to collect the valuable artifacts. Bolotky Village is a region that tells a familiar story. If you look around, you can see that there are no military defenses up, no blockades or checkpoints. It's almost like this place was missed by the military completely. In fact, it was. Every other region has displays of military presence or the damage of great battles, but not Bolotky. It's clear of anything that says the army even passed through this place. It was forgotten, left behind for its people to fend for themselves. But with very few able-bodied people living here to fight, the entities would have just walked in and occupied the region, killing all residents who could not escape. It's a sobering reminder that even in great disasters, so many people are often left behind. The military put all their focus into protecting the expensive infrastructures in Promove and Probeta. Now this place is nothing but a ghost town and a forgotten wasteland.